experiment today, and for the next few days to try to just do a shorter video every day about a particular problem that I'm having, which is that I have a lot of whips and I have a lot of ideas, and I'm unfocused and feel like I need some help from myself. And I thought making short little blog videos every day would motivate me to just keep on, not on task, but I want to make some progress this week. There are several projects, which I'm going to show you everything I've got, everything I have that matters to me right now, and where I am at with it, and why, and talk about why I haven't finished things. And then hopefully today is Monday, December 9th, and hopefully set some goals for the end of the week, and then I'll do a little video every day, hopefully, to talk about what I've done. And if I don't make progress on anything, that's okay too. If it doesn't work, then at least it'll be fun to watch, right? And you can see all the things I'm working on, regardless of whether or not I'm actually successful this week at doing what I hope. Previously, I had a podcast episode where I talked about myself, about writing down my progress and planning in my knitting journal. And that is helpful. I have made a list, both electronic list and a list that I've taped to my wall that I see regularly, so that I remember all of the things that are up there. It's helped a little bit. Sometimes I am not currently focused on a project and I don't know what to do. Like I have like 2 hours before I'm going to sleep, and I don't want to watch anything, and I'm not naturally picking up a project, and it's like, well, I could read a book, I could go to bed early, or what do I actually care about working on right now? What's important to me? And that's hard. A lot of the time it's hard for me. I'm bored, or I want a spark that helps me grab onto a particular project and really feel motivated for multiple days to get that done. And stuff just stalls. I'm sure everybody can relate to that. You have energy that for something, and it just sort of stalls, and then I have to figure out and work with myself to pick that thing back up. So the first project that I have, these are all whips, because working on design whips is also a similar issue. It's just there's a whole separate baggage going on with those things when I procrastinate working on them. So I'm just going to talk about personal whips, because usually when I clear out personal whips, then I have more space for the design stuff to happen. And it's the end of the year. It's the perfect time for me to bust some stuff out and clear my whip list for 2020. So the first thing that I have been working on this morning, I'm thinking about doing this video. This is the Forager. And I got a cute new progress keeper in the mail today. It's a little croissant with a face. I don't know the company. I got it from on Etsy. It was something I saw really quickly and ordered it a while ago. It ended up coming from England, so it took a while, and I've already forgotten. I'll have to look it up and do the show notes for it. Anyway, it's very cute. But the Forager, which I think is going to come out soon. It hasn't come out yet. By Melody Hoffmann, but it will soon. And so I hadn't been working on this for quite some time. I had been needing to separate for the sleeves and just hadn't done it. So what I'd like to have done this week is just to work on it a little bit every day. And the progress keeper is there so that I can tell how far. This is how far I've already knit today. Because I don't expect this to be quick necessarily. Now that I'm into the body, I always really do the yokes really quickly, and then the body takes a while, and then the sleeves take a while, and then so yes, that's one thing that I would like to make some progress on. I have some socks. I'm sure if you've been watching previous episodes of the socks that are taking forever definitely probably had some people think, God, this girl cannot knit socks very quickly. I have the Puddle jumper pair from a Homespun house. I've not worked on this at all since the last time recording. And then I have the kind of kitchen sink Puddle jumper pair. I did start the toe last week and I didn't finish it. So this sock I'd like to have done by Saturday, or earlier. I just need to finish this heel, put it on, measure how long I need to go before the toe and actually complete that, and then that pair will be done. So I'd like to have this complete by the end of this week. I think I could do that. The thing that I'm hesitating on finishing them is because, well, this is the reason I'm using. This is the reason that my procrastination is holding ground with. The second sock is on a smaller needle size than the first one. So I'm kind of like afraid that they're not going to fit. The second one's not going to fit as well. So I haven't finished that toe because once I finish the toe, I have to try it on and see. And I really don't, when I really think about it, it's really going to be okay. It's not that much of a different gauge. It may be a little bit tighter. I could also block it out wider. And this is not a design, these are just for me. It's really not a big deal. But that's the reason why I'm using to not work on those. And I just want to get it done. I think it would be really helpful for me to get through it. And then I would probably feel more motivated to knit the other pair also. The big thing, I would also hesitate to say I want to do this by the end of the week. But let me just, what do I want to do? I think I'd like to have, I'm talking about the Kinikin cardigan. I haven't showed it to you and I already started talking about it. What I would like to have done by the end of the week is to have taken out the parts that I need to change. So this whole sleeve has to come out. The body has to come out. It's too wide. So I decided I need to go back to maybe halfway through the yoke, halfway through the raglan, and be more precise about where I stop increasing. Because I just followed the pattern and then it was too big. I'm using different yarn. It's much heavier than the mohair that was in the pattern originally. So I do need to make some changes, and I was kind of just, sometimes I want to cast on and I just don't want to think about it and I want to have a fun experience. And it was a fun experience, except now I want it to look a certain way. And so I actually have to go back and think about it and consider so that it looks the way that I want it to. And I just have put it aside. And when I finished the sleeve, I've talked about this already a bit in other places, but that the sleeve was too short and so I made it longer and now it's too long. So I'd like to take everything out and get back to a space, back to the raglan and make that decision about how much I'm going to increase. And then I think that'll be good. I think once I get that decided, then I'll feel more capable of launching into it when I have some spare time. A lot of projects hold me back because I have to make a decision. And I think I particularly get tired of making decisions, especially with fit decisions where you have to try it on, you have to measure, all those things kind of make me, I just don't want to make those choices. And I don't want to see the reality at that moment. So a project that I just have to I can jump in and do stockinette, something I already know. Those projects are the ones that get worked on. The ones where I have to try on. I have to put something on waste yarn. I have to make a decision. I have to experiment, see, those projects tend to get put off because I don't like making decisions. So I'd like to at least get to the part where I've made the decision this week. And then, oh yeah, something else I was going to do. I'm going to, fade the colors a little bit better. I did a good job fading colors on the body, but not the sleeve so much because I didn't know how much yarn I was going to use. So now I think when I go back up to the sleeve, I will probably alternate more of the red earlier so that it's distributed out and then it's not so distinct, the change. So all in all, I think that it's a good thing to go backwards with that project. The fourth thing, see, I've got a lot of stuff happening on my mind at the same time. This is the the Advent Mystery Cow from a Homespun house. She did kits for people. I could purchase 50 gram skeins, 4 50-gram skeins from her, and she gives you a clue every Sunday. And we're on week 2, and I just want to stay on top of this one. It was really exciting yesterday when I opened the second skein because I was ready for it. I had completed all of the rows for the first week. So I just want to, I think, be more in the present moment with this project and be ready for week 3. So I think by the end of the week, I'd like to have gotten through this second section, which is it's maybe like 3-4 hours knitting, maybe a little bit more. But that would be nice to keep on top of it, so it feels like the season, I'm in the middle of the season and appreciating the holiday season through projects like this. And I play Christmas music when I work, and I light candles, and I create the space and the mood, and my mom and I do some things together that give me that moment. Those moments so when the Christmas is over, I really feel like I experienced it. If I don't actively do that, then the holidays are over and it's a little disappointing, and so I feel like I missed out or something, and so I guess I'm chasing FOMO, or running away from FOMO in that sense, and keeping with this project. And then the last whip. It's not the last whip I have. I have other whips hanging up there. They're just not important, and they're on timeout, as it were. The last one that matters, it's fun, that I've been enjoying, is the Marley by Andrea Mowry. And I have memorized the rows for this, and that has made it a lot easier. That was something I did. I made that decision last week. I jumped back into this project and memorized them so that I can just pick this up and knit it. It's a little bit more thinking than maybe the stockinette part of my Forager, so it'll be in the place. The Forager can be my total brainless, sitting down in front of something to watch or listen to, or spending time with a friend and knitting mindlessly for hours. And that is a very important piece of my knitting time during the week, that I don't have to think about it. And then I think this is just a step up in the sense that I need to be able to read the knitting, and I keep track in my little book about what row I'm on, or I've got numbers to cross off and stuff. So anyway, this is a really fun one, just because it's plush and the colors are cool. I've got a little butterbeer little guy, and so that's it. Those are the ones I have. I'm looking at my list over there. 2 pairs of socks, the sweater, Kinikin, the Advent, Marley, and then I also need to cast on a hat for somebody. Asked me to make them a hat, and I have not cast that on yet, because I have to make decisions. That is really what the message is for this little video, is I have to make a decision when I do these kinds of things. When there's a hesitation to get into a project, it's because I have to make a decision. Someone asked me to make them a hat. We discussed the particularities of what they wanted. And it's not going to be hard. I just have to have a moment of being like, okay, this is for this person. They have this head size. I'm going to have to probably do a little swatch in the round to check the gauge so that I can cast on the right number of stitches. And if I'm going to do 2x2 and whatever, what shape am I going to make? I'm probably not going to follow a pattern for this person, because I can do it without it, and it also locks me into something. I have to make decisions later, change the pattern based on what the person told me they wanted. So, yeah, decisions are the things that make me I gotta put this aside because I don't know if the fit's right. I gotta put this aside because I'm confused by this row. I need to email the designer and wait. I need to split for the sleeves, and I'm not sure that I've made the depth long enough. I put it aside. These decisions. I've got a design for a leg warmer that I was really excited about until all of a sudden in my experimenting, I think it's too big. And now I have to make the decision, figure out how I'm going to decide how big and if they're going to be decreases. And those decisions make me stop. So this week, I hopefully will give myself space to make some decisions and keep going. I don't have to make any decisions on the Forager. I don't have to make any decisions on the Marley shawl because I already did. There's something with the Advent mystery along that I'm confused by, so I do need to sit down and make a decision if I'm going to experiment or if I'm going to email Molly. The Kinikin obviously needs a lot of decision making, and the socks I might have to take the heel out. You know, those kinds of things, which is why I have so many whips. So comment below if you have decision fatigue issues, or if you have lots of whips where you're like, you put them aside because you're stuck at a certain point. Because I don't really know a way around having that happen besides like making a list or making a goal for the week or the day or something, that you're going to confront a certain issue of something, rather than just writing down my whip list and I need to check them off. I can write a sub list. The bigger goal is get this finished, and what do I need to do to get there? Well, I need to rip out and I need to make the decision about this, and then I can do those steps and feel accomplished in making that step forward, rather than just looking at it on the wall and saying, oh, I've got to finish that whip. There are some steps that need to happen. So for me, I'm gonna break it down and make it a little easier to achieve, so that if the end of the week comes and I haven't finished anything, that's okay, as long as I've made some progress and made some steps forward on hopefully each of these projects. But okay, I'm gonna stop before I ramble on about the same idea over and over, and I keep saying it in a different way. And I'll check back in tomorrow and tell you what I did and what I think about this now. This is day 2. This is December 10th, and I wanted to update you on what I did yesterday. I had quite a lot of knitting time yesterday, so I finished my puddle jumper socks. And what I ended up doing was taking out the little bit of more white speckly that I had here because I ran out of yarn. I took that out. It was this. Which is Xenophilius just explains the Deathly Hollows. It's another Homespun house colorway. I took it out because I found another little ball of this puddle jumper in the bottom of a basket, and so I was able to do about 1.5 inches with that little ball. And then what I did was I added in a different Homespun house colorway, which is, I think this one is, let me look at the label. Oh, Half-Blood Prince, which is more similar to the puddle jumper than the other colorway was. So then I had about 1 inch of that before I started the toe. So did that all yesterday. I probably knit about this much. Finished the toe of that sock too. So now I'm done. I have not tried them on yet. I tried them on to measure where I should do the toe. So they are going to fit. I have not measured to make sure the toe is long enough. I'll do that this morning before I weave in the ends. But I'm going to weave in the ends and block them right away so that I can cross them off my list. And I'm excited because that was, yesterday's video helped me really focus like I wanted to on exactly what task I could do to move that list along. So this morning I sat down at this desk to decide what to do about the other pair of socks, and I have one pumpkin spice sock. This is where the heel is going to go. It's going to be a little shorter than the other pair, and I think I'm going to use Xenophilius Explains the Deathly Hollows. And today I decided what I'm going to try to do today is put the heel in and then start knitting the rest of the toe, the foot, I would say, because the heel's going to go here, and then I'm going to need to knit for maybe another 3 inches of this. And then the other thing I want to do is take the rest of the puddle of the pumpkin spice and cast on the second sock. So I'll have both on the needles. Because I have two size 1 9-inch circulars, so I can cast on both at the same time. Yeah, that's my goal for today, is to get both of them on the needles and to get this first one considerably along. And then I was thinking, by the end of the week, I would like to have this first sock done, which is totally doable. And then, of course, I'll have started this one. So I don't want to necessarily say I want both socks done by the end of the week. I guess I could if I did nothing else. I do have a lot of work to do, actually, on other things. Like today, I'm not going to get to knit for a lot during the day because I have to work. Both on completing the details section of this shawl and working for someone else. So I may have like an hour or so this morning that I can do this sock. But anyway, then I'll have to work this evening to work on stuff. Yeah, and now I'm thinking that because I got those socks, that one pair of socks done, and then I'm gonna get myself along on these. I'm hoping now by the end of the week to have this sock completed and to have gotten into the Kinikin cardigan. Not necessarily finished that, but maybe. We'll see how the week goes. But I'd like to maybe at least have the body done. Yeah, it's easier to estimate how much you can achieve when you get into things and start taking care of things on the list of what's really going to be possible. Because I didn't know I was going to really get this first pair of socks done yesterday. Because I was highly motivated, so I got it done. So if that still happens, then other good things can happen too. But, life gets lifey and stuff gets in the way, and then things don't happen. So we'll see. But that's my check-in. I did a few more rows after filming yesterday of my Forager pullover. Maybe I did about 1.5 inches yesterday total, but it looks the same, so I don't really need to show you. Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Good morning. It is... What's the date today? Today's the 11th. It's Wednesday. So today's the 3rd day I've recorded about my whips. It's very rainy right now and misty. Kind of a perfect fall day. And I'm excited to report that I made a heel yesterday morning. And then I cast on, I put the new yarn also on the foot of my pumpkin spice sock. So this is a goal that I set yesterday morning, and I did it. I did knit a little bit of this morning, maybe like 1/2 inch, but I did the heel yesterday and picked up the toe. Picked up the foot. And I'm really excited about that because now I really want to knit them, and before I was having a hard time being motivated to do anything with them. So that's exciting. And then last night I had a few hours and I cast on the second one, which was also part of my goal yesterday, to cast on the second one so that when I get to the end of this first sock, if I'm not in a place where I can do the heel or measure correctly, then I can just pop over and knit round and round on this guy, which is how all of this got done. So I did most of this last night. The Christmas dinner progress keeper from Sucre Miniatures that I got from Homespun House, I ordered it a while ago and decided to put it in my Advent because the little boxes they came in fit perfectly inside my canvas Advent slots. So did this last night. Also very exciting because I sat down and watched a movie and actually just knit the whole time. And now I want to knit more socks. Ironically, I started that first Puddle jumper colorway pair in July and just finished it on Monday. And now I really want to knit more socks, which is, of course, as soon as you sit down to commit to doing something, it gets enjoyable. Like when we talk about that, of like you don't want to do any work and you procrastinate for a long time, but then when you actually get into it, you really enjoy it, and it's just that resistance that you have to get through before you're like, oh, knitting socks is great, and I want to knit more and more and more pairs. That's what I did yesterday, anyway, is move that pumpkin spice pair along, and I'm really happy with that. Today I'm going to try to, the goal is to maybe knit a couple rows of my Advent mystery along from Homespun House, because I have not worked on that for a few days. And I did kind of get the confusion I had worked out with that. I looked at pictures on Instagram to see if what I was making was what everybody else was getting, and I am. So I'm glad that I feel confident again in the pattern, and I'll keep going. Maybe just do one repeat of the section I'm in, and then maybe more, whatever I feel like doing. And then I want to frog the Kinikin back to the maybe halfway through the yoke. So I need to measure some things. So I'm going to lay it out. I'm going to measure how many rows of body knitting I actually did, because I like the length, so I want to write that down and make sure I do that again. And then I'm going to put it on and kind of pinch how much extra I have under the arms. It's just like this. There's material on either side. Right here of like, I don't know, 10 or so stitches on either side. There's just hanging out there, and it's actually flat across my back and flat in the front. So I'm just going to get rid of that extra bit. So I'm going to count how many of those stitches there are, and then go back up into the raglan and stop increasing when I get to the point that I have the right amount of stitches around 4. And then I'm going to take the sleeve out. So I'm hoping to measure it and pull it out and have it back on the needles ready to pick up for tomorrow or Friday or something. That's the goal for today. So just a few rows of Advent and frogging the Kinikin. Yeah, that's the goal for today. I do have a lot of other work to do, both for my current pattern, and for my other job. So we'll see. It might not happen today. I don't know. But that's okay if it doesn't. I've done really great progress this week so far. I feel really encouraged, and I want to keep going on this whip goal that I have. I did also spend a little bit of time yesterday writing more in my knitting planner. I'm in the last month now. I'm going to get another one soon for 2020, but I showed in a previous podcast episode how I just sort of try to list whips and stuff to make things clear and make sense so I can make good choices. And I hadn't realized I hadn't done it for December. I think in that last video I had done it for November. One of the things that I realized too is if this book isn't literally sitting on the top of my bedside table, I don't think about it again. My bedside table is pretty much just books. There's no real table left. I have definitely like a book. I need another place to store books. I might have to take over another section of a shelf somewhere else in the house. But anyway, I have stacks of books on my bedside table that are mine, that I own. The library books are down on the floor. Anyway, if this is sitting at the top of the stack, then I actually will open it up every day and like write in what I knit, and that's probably the single most motivating thing I could do to get projects done, is to just write down what progress I made, because then I'm thinking about it all the time, and then it's fun to write it in and to see, oh, how many days did I work on that, and that kind of thing. But also because I can write a goal. So on December, on the Saturday, I've now listed the things that I want to get done this month. And I hopefully have given myself enough wiggle room that I really can do that. I'm not asking myself to finish this pumpkin spice pair this week, nor am I asking myself to finish the Kinikin cardigan this week either. Both of those are scheduled to be finished on the 21st, and that's the only thing I'm wanting to do this week, by this Saturday, is frog the Kinikin, finish my meet cute shawl pattern, and get the first pair of socks done, or first pumpkin spice sock done, actually, because I did adjust this. I I did this scheduling yesterday, and I'd already done the other pair of socks. I finished those on Monday, so. And then I want the Advent Cowl Mystery Along to be done by the 28th, because I'll have the last clue on the 4th Sunday of this month, and I should be able to finish that and get that done. And then I have a hat that I mentioned that I haven't started. That's a gift for someone that I would like to have done by Christmas. He doesn't have to have it by Christmas, but I want to have it done. So that's also written down. You probably can't see, but it's written down here on the 25th. So that's, you know, a nice outline for the rest of the month. And then I kind of wrote down in the project planning page of December the 6 whips I have that are important to me that are up this month. And then I decided to try to finish all of them and the 2 really old whips that I have on a super old list. I have a whip from 2017 and a whip from 2018. Barndom by Stephen West and Tensile by Emily Greene. I really would love to have both of those done by February, the end of February. And so my scary goal to say out loud is that I'm not going to add any more whips until that time, with the exception of 1 pair of socks from a Homespun house, because I've ordered some Puddle Christmas sock yarn, and I want to start those. But I won't until both the pumpkin spice are done. So both goals of like no new whips except for those socks until the end of February, and or until I'm done with all these things that are listed here, and no buying other people's patterns, because when I buy a pattern I want to start it and I want to buy yarn for it. And so I'm just gonna add yarns to my favorite list or add patterns to my favorite list in Ravelry for a while and just let them accumulate there, things that I like, and not jump on the newest thing, because I just can't keep doing that. I need a break. I guess I need a break from doing that. It's not that I'm never going to do that again or not going to do that after February. I just want to give myself some space to not buy people's patterns. And then I am feeling like I'm behind all the time. Yeah, or I want to jump. Oh, I want to do this now. I'm not done with a certain sweater, but I want to jump onto this next sweater. And I got to stop doing that. So no new whips until the end of February. I want to finish all those patterns, current whips I have, by the end of February. No buying people's patterns. And no yarn purchases. That's the big one. Because I have this crazy idea of like not buying any yarn in 2020 with there's always an exception, with the exception that if I'm working on a design and I need to fill out yarn for that pattern, I need more. Then I can buy yarn then, but I don't want to buy yarn for a new yarn for a design, and I don't want to buy yarn for a personal project, because I have plenty to work with. The last 2 years I bought a lot of stuff, and I have many sweater quantities of things that I can design with, and shawl quantities and lots of stuff. So I really don't actually want to buy yarn at all in 2020. And I am hesitant to say that. I've thought about it for a while, and I haven't even told. There's a couple of friends, knitting friends who I talk to every day, and I haven't even said that to them because I know they're just going to laugh in my face. Me like, that's never going to happen. You don't have that capacity. And they're really right. Currently I don't have that capacity, but I'd like to build it up. And yeah, so those are my goals, and I spent some time yesterday looking at them, and I will revisit them probably sometime in January also. But it was good to flesh it out and at least think about the potential of doing some extreme stuff like that, you know. It's extreme to not let myself buy anything at all, regardless of what comes along in front of me in Instagram and stuff. Good morning. It's day 4, December 12th. And I'm just going to do a short video this morning because I didn't get a lot done yesterday. I worked on my pattern and filmed a bunch of tutorials and worked for other people, so those are good things. I just didn't have as much knitting time. I did get a little bit further on the foot of this sock. I had to stop knitting on it because a combination of both working on the computer a lot and knitting on size 1 9-inch circulars has made my wrists a little hurting on the outside. I don't have acupuncture until Friday, so I almost didn't knit in the evening yesterday at all, because it just was really, I mean, if your wrists are hurting, you really shouldn't be knitting. So I stopped, and then I realized I could try knitting with bigger needles, and that might help. So I picked up the Advent Cal from Homespun House and worked on the second section, the reindeer track section, and yeah, and it was much better. I also put on both the Farmer's Daughter Fibers wrist relief that I got, I think, a couple years ago. I'm still working on that one container because I don't actually have to use it that often. I also have this. Marijuana is legal in Washington State, so I switched. I just picked this up at my acupuncturist office, actually, this THC salve. So anyway, I put that on, and I woke up this morning, and of course they feel better, but I've got to do some computer work now. I gotta take my mom to the doctor, so lots of waiting time to be knitting, so we'll see how today goes. I did not take apart the Kinikin, not yet. I might take it apart when I get home today. Something weird is happening because I am so goal-oriented this week. I'm actually doing a lot of work on my pattern, and so like I said, I filmed a lot of tutorials. I filmed the Afterthought Heel tutorial that I've been thinking about from time to time. I actually filmed me cutting into this. I may have mentioned that yesterday. I filmed that, and then I had a podcast episode. I have these. So both my computer and my phone disk space is full. And I have had a big video for work I needed to edit. So I have all these videos that need to be edited and moved on into the cloud or on YouTube or off my devices. And so I could work on the Kinikin. Depends on when we get back from the doctor what I feel like doing. Or I might just keep editing and getting stuff off my devices. So anyway, oftentimes I have to edit something on my computer, and then I have to go to the library and upload it because my home uploading speeds are terrible, and it's super quick at the library. So hopefully this morning I gotta edit episode 6 that we filmed last week and get that at least up to YouTube, and then maybe release later today, so that I can get that off there, and then I can load the rest of either these or load the tutorials so I can edit those and get those up to YouTube. Anyway, I might buy an external hard drive at some point next year, because this hasn't happened very often where I'm filming lots of stuff at the same time and running out of space. So anyway, I guess my knitting goal today would be to take care of my hands, and if I need to read and rest, then I'm not going to knit a lot, and to get 8 rows of the Advent. I figured out how many rows left I need to do and split that up in the next 3 days so that I can make sure if I knit 8 rows every day, then I'll be on track. And I might take my Forager sweater with me and knit on that a little bit, and then I could also take Marley, which is not a goal for this week, but a pattern that I've memorized, so that's something I can take with me too. While we're gonna sit in the ferry line to get on the ferry. We're going to be at the doctor's like a whole hour early because of the ferry schedule, so I'll have that time. Then my mom will be in the doctor, and I'll be in the waiting room by myself. And then after the doctor, then we have to go back to the ferry and sit in line and be on the ferry. And so there's lots of opportunity for me to sit and knit or read or whatever. So yeah, we'll see if I get a lot done and if my wrists feel good. It's funny that of course, the week that I have these goals, that of course my hands are like, but it's a combination of like this desk doesn't have, when I love going to my local library and doing computer work there, because I actually can put my whole elbows on the table, and I'm not literally like I'm often broken because my desk is just not long enough, and there's not a lot of foot room down here, and none of those things matter unless you're working on a computer a lot, and then all of a sudden they do matter. That point, at the point where you're resting your weight of your arm on whatever surface you're using matters a lot. And then knitting with really tiny, small things is really hard on my hands. So I want to finish the sock still by the end of the weekend, but I may not be able to put a lot of hours into it. It's really only probably 3 hours away and I would be done, you know, and that would be so cool, but I may have to just do it a half hour at a time for the next little while, which also means I won't be able to finish the second one as fast as I thought. Yeah, anyway, I have an ergodynamic mouse that I literally hold like this. It's really great. A friend of mine got that for me to work InDesign with because it's much more capable of grabbing small, tiny things and moving it over. So there is that. You know, I have at least that hand, and I will use the salves and stuff more today too and see how it goes. Hi! Today is December 13th. It's Friday, and I did a lot of knitting yesterday. I took my mom to the doctor and we were at the office for quite a long time. So while I was sitting and waiting, I finished the toe on my first pumpkin spice sock. So this is Xenophilius Explains the Deathly Hallows. It's a Harry Potter colorway from a Homespun house. And it is a strange spot to change colors, but I think it looks okay on. It's a little snug right here. I feel like the toe is a little bit too narrow, but it's not any different than the other pair, I don't think, although it feels, maybe it's the fact that I put the other pairs on a few times back and forth, and so I need to wear it in and it'll kind of wiggle itself out. Anyway, I'm really happy with it. I knit the whole foot until the toe while I was at the doctor's office, and then when I got home and had my double pointing needles, then I made the toe. So this was one of the goals, to finish this sock by Saturday. So I made it with 2 days to spare. So now I can continue to plug away at this guy. And I think when I wrote the goals the other day, I'm not supposed to finish this until next week. So there's not a rush. I do feel now that I finished the first one, like I really want to finish this whole project. So I may probably end up working on it a little bit more. As my hands allow. My wrists are still a little bit. They're better. I wouldn't have finished that sock if they'd been terrible, but I don't want to overdo it and just like knit this whole sock in like a couple days. So I'll restrain myself and hold back and not finish that. What I did after I finished that foot was that I continued to work on my Mystery Advent cowl from a Homespun house. And this is the Advent colorways that she mailed. This was First Snow, and this is Mistletoe. And I'm actually holding Mistletoe, not with Homespun House Mohair, but with Explorer Fibers mohair in Mauveulous, which is what I knit my no frills pullover in. So I had some extra mohair from that project that I've been wanting to use in something, so it matches perfectly with the colorway that Molly sent. And I think I hit my 8 rows yesterday that I wanted to do with this, so I think I'll definitely, it's this same stitch the whole time until Sunday when we get a new clue. So I think I'll be able to, I've already got it memorized and I can just sit and read my knitting and I can tell what row I need to do. So that's really great. This has kind of become a no-brainer project. I started watching the HBO show last night, His Dark Materials, based on Philip Pullman's trilogy, and it was really good. So that's what I was watching. My friend and I were watching while I was knitting on this. Which leads me to, what am I going to do today? So last night before I went to bed, I sat down with my planner and dawdled out all the things that I could possibly get done. And of course this morning I've changed my plan. Of course I did. I'm just really tired today, so I have I usually work Saturdays. Usually do farmer's market on Saturday and Sunday, but now that's sort of ended for the season. Now I'm only doing Sundays. So I do have an extra day off tomorrow, and I think I'm going to do work for other people. Instead of today, I'm going to do it tomorrow. So today, hopefully I'm going to put the last finishing touches on my Meet Cute pattern, which has really been the exciting thing this week, that I've been able to push that, push those last few tasks. I recorded on Wednesday a bunch of tutorials for brioche stitch because I couldn't really find good tutorials on YouTube, and I wanted to make sure that people following that pattern had something to really look at. So I'm going to edit those and upload them to YouTube today and add the links to the pattern, and I think I just need to measure the wingspan of the whole shawl and add that number in to the pattern. I think I'm done. Then I'm going to send it to the tech editor. So that's the big push today, is to get that all done, those tutorials up and in the pattern, so that I can send the whole thing off to the tech editor. And besides that, I'm going to frog my Kinikin. So that's the goal. Maybe I'll work on the socks and the advent a little bit, but I'm going to try to frog that Kinikin and get it back moving so that I can work on it tomorrow. Good morning. It's Saturday. It's December 14th, and I have today off. Well, I'm still working, but I don't have to work outside the home today. Outside the home, that sounds funny. I wanted to tell you what I did yesterday. So I ripped out my Kinikin up to about like halfway up the yoke, and then I tried it on as a sort of like a rectangle when you, at that point, you tried it on, and it had enough armhole depth. So then I didn't increase anymore in the raglan, and I knit the entire body yesterday in about 5 hours. From the time I took it out to the time I knit it, it's about 5 hours. Got a sleeve on the needles already, but I'm done. So, yeah. And today, the goal is to knit a sleeve this morning, and then I need to do some work, and then to knit the second sleeve in the afternoon, evening. So hopefully, that's me, I can't wink. I have a really bad wink. Hopefully, I will finish the entire sweater today. I'm really excited about this. It was about 3 weeks ago that I knit the body the first time. 3 weeks ago today. So I haven't worked on it for about 2.5 weeks. Just haven't been motivated, not been interested. And I made that body significantly smaller. It was just really big because the raglan, I didn't need to do the full raglan increases, and then I had also added, like, I don't know, 5 stitches under the underarm, 10 stitches under the underarm, I don't know, something crazy. So it was 2.5 weeks, 3 weeks ago, so I don't remember. But yeah, I had like I said yesterday, I had big big sections underneath the arm, and it's much more fitting now. And I think if I had used the yarn that the pattern had called for, which was the mango, loopy mango, a full bulky mohair is what it is. It's so much lighter than what I'm using. I'm using Malabrigo Rasta, which is a merino roving, really. I mean, it's not super heavy. It's not the heaviest that size that yarn could be, but it is still, this sweater is considerably heavier than the pattern was designed for. So I think it was smart to make it more fitted, or just make it smaller. I mean, the pattern only comes in 2 sizes too, so it's supposed to fit a wide range of people. So if you're interested in making it, something I would recommend is getting a needle size. The needles you use for the body, actually make sure that the cable is big enough to come around your whole body. I was using an old pair of 19s, circular 19s that were like a 24-inch length, and so they would kind of come around and sit kind of right here. So they made the cardigan seem like, as I was knitting it, that it was smaller than it really was. And I knew that it was going to be smaller, that I was going to be bigger when I actually cast bound off and tried it on. But I didn't know how much bigger, because I really didn't have any idea. All the stitches were shoved on the back of that needle, or on the cable between the two needles, until I really tried it on, and I was like, oh, yeah, it's really too big. And right, and I was kind of hoping it would be sort of just this cute cropped sweater to maybe wear over my dresses, or with my high-waisted skinny jeans and stuff, because of the, I was had that look in mind, because the yarn is so thick and bulky that to have an oversized sweater that is this bulky probably wouldn't be something that I would wear outside the house, or would need to have, I don't know, it's so brightly colored. Like, I'm not saying that I would never have a bulky oversized sweater, but the colors are so bright. And anyway, in my mind, it was gonna be a cuter garment to wear as a little cropped little cardigan to put over, that made out of big wool. And so anyway, I'm glad that I did that, and it didn't take me very long. It took me a lot less time than I thought. And then the sleeves hopefully will take maybe 2.5 hours each, and I'm not going to make them as long as I did the second time I knit them. I knit one sleeve one time, and I think that's the length that I want to get back to. And then I thought it was too short, so I knit it all the way till I actually had the ribbing here, and then the extra poof for the sleeve was kind of coming over my hand, and that was too big. And so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to make them a little shorter. And I also just separated out the balls of yarn I have left, so that I can more equally distribute the color. I have a little bit of this, which is the color of the yoke, that I can start out each sleeve with, and then I have a little bit of a darker skein of that same colorway, but I also have some purple and green, which does go, and this is how the body is. It goes from the lighter Arco Iris to the darker Arco Iris to the Zamamora, I think is what this one is called. But I also have some red. This is Archangel, I think. This is a really cool colorway. It's not showing up very purple, but it is very purple when you look at it. It's like violet and then dark red. Anyway, I'm gonna mix up this in with this a little bit as the sleeve goes down, so that hopefully I'll end with the purple and have used up some of the red and not have like a distinct line of red like I did. Because I thought that would be okay when I first did the sleeve, but then most of it is ending up being like, most of it was, 3/4 of it was ending up being red, and so it was really distracting. Anyway, hopefully that'll all work out. Yesterday I did not knit on my Advent cal at all. I didn't knit on my socks at all. I pretty much just finished my Meet Cute pattern in the morning yesterday, which is a really big deal, as I've been trying to get that sucker done, like I said, for quite a while. I finished writing the instructions in October, and now it's like mid-December, and I'm finally finished with everything. I did the tutorials, are all up on YouTube. They're not available. They won't be available to see until the pattern releases, but yeah, I am done with that. And I sent it, my tech editor sent me an email back. She said she can do it in the beginning of January, so that means that I will be starting the test shortly thereafter, sometime at the beginning of January. So if you're interested, send me an email at victoriaswool@gmail.com. There's going to be a discount offered for custom woolen mills, which I didn't know about the last time I recorded with my mom, but I emailed them and asked them if they would be willing to give discounts to my testers, and that is happening. So they're going to give 20% off, I believe, which is a really good deal. So if you're interested in making the Meet Cute, which is that big blanket shawl, I can insert a picture here. You can use it with the yarn I actually used, which is really wonderful stuff. It's very reasonably priced. Comes from Alberta, Canada, and they are really nice. They've been really nice to me so far. and it takes about 9 skeins. 1 skein of the first color, 4 skeins of the second color, and 4 skeins of the third color. And you don't have to make that in gold, gray, and black. You can make it in any trio that you want. And there's 3 different types of that medium soft spun. There's a naturally dyed, there's a standard dyed, and then there's a sheep's shade. And I ended up using a color from each of those 3, but you don't have to do that. The naturally dyed is the one that's $25 Canadian a skein, which is what I use the gold for. But you can use a sheep shade or a standard dyed for that. There are standard dyed yellow colors also. And then the sheep shades are what comes right off the sheep's wool. They don't undyed. And then the standard dyes are all really nice colors too. So anyway, you could get 9 skeins at $9 Canadian, or it's roughly 7 US Canadian. And there's a bit of shipping, but it's still really inexpensive. And then you're getting, if you're going to test, 20% off. So I hope that everybody who wants to test wants to do it with that wool, because I think as far as affordability goes, that'll be the best option for people, unless they already have lots of bulky in their stash and that's what they want to use it for. But yeah, everybody needs to use bulky yarn. Anyway, that was a sidetrack of me talking about my whip accomplishments this week, but it was a big thing I also achieved this week, was getting that pattern done. And I'm really grateful that I was able to, I think videoing every day actually really helped that process as well as the whip process. It's interesting doing a journal every day of what I did the previous day, because it kind of shows you that if I'm on the ball, shows me that if I'm on the ball about stuff, I might actually finish things a lot earlier than I thought, right? So thinking about the fact that I have, a few more whips that are on the list, and also the 2 older whips, I'd be like, well, I might actually get into those older whips before the end of the year. Like, not finish them, but like pull them out and start, getting back into working on them, because I'm finishing up things faster. I'll probably finish that pumpkin spice sock next week, and that hat as a gift will probably only take me a couple of days. I'm looking at my list over here. The Advent Cowl can happen and be finished probably around Christmas, as soon as the 4th clue drops on the 22nd, then I can finish that and as soon as possible. Which kind of just leaves me with the Forager pullover by Melody Hoffmann and my Marley shawl, which are both long-term, rest easy patterns where I can just work on them whenever. So that means I might actually pull down that Tensile sweater, which I have right here, by Emily Greene, which is a pieced Brooklyn tweed sweater, because this takes just a little bit more concentration because I'm counting yarn overs and stuff like that. So I might actually pull this out maybe at the end of next week and start putzing away on that, because that's a fingering weight one. I'm knitting both the front and the back panel at the same time so that they end up being exactly the same size, because I knit a flat. I started a piece sweater that ended up, the front panel ended up being 2 inches longer than the back panel, and so I scrapped it. Or at least I decided to not work on it anymore. I have not yet actually taken it apart. That would be a good video to do. Anyway, I want to make sure that they're exactly the same size so that I don't have to have that disaster. And I'll probably knit the sleeves exactly this. I'll knit them side to side too. And that just means that I have a really long circular needle, and I knit across the back on that needle, and then I put the ball down, pick up the other ball, and knit across the front. So both are on. They're not attached to each other, but they're both on, like doing 2 socks at a time or something. And I'll probably do the sleeves that way too. And then I can have better luck piecing it, sewing it together, which I've never done. So that would be actually maybe an exciting adventure to start in the new year. Anyway, yeah, it could be all the whips could get done before February even, which would kind of be incredible, because I made all these goals about how I wasn't allowed to start anything until I get all that done. That might happen. Wouldn't that be wonderful if I had all that happen before? I might actually get bored, and that's kind of the goal, right? Is to oh, well, what do I work on? One thing I was thinking about yesterday when I was thinking about finishing this, I'm like, well, what am I going to work on next week then? What's going to be the goal for next week? And I thought of setting aside an hour at least in the morning, to just sit down and experiment more with my yarn, and spend some time just thinking about design and just sketching, and maybe pulling out some yarns for the next patterns, so that I can just sort of change the way I initiate starting a design and make it more fun and make it more open. I've been listening to Elizabeth Gilbert's Big Magic book, which is about creativity, and every time I listen to that book, I'll probably talk about this again on the podcast, every time I listen to it, I'm reminded of all the things that are right, the truth, like her voicing aspects of creativity that make a lot of sense to me, and she's spot on. And every year I've listened to it. I think this is my third sort of winter listening to it, and every year I'm like, oh yeah, right. Especially this year, like, I knew this. I've been worried about these things and concerned and fearful of this stuff around designing, but I already knew that those things didn't need to have control over me, didn't need to lead me, and things have been holding me back. And listening to her book, it's like, oh, I totally agree with her. I totally understand, and it's totally necessary for me to listen to her book or think these things through again year after year, because I sort of like creep away from the truth, and I creep towards being afraid again and again. It's totally unnecessary, I guess. So I'm really grateful to get that reminder at the end of the year, and that I can do things differently. So I'm gonna try to instigate and input that next week. Bye.